Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh tells Parliament India and China agree for disengagement in north and south banks of Pangong Lake in eastern Ladakh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan has become a medium for shaping the future of disadvantaged people. Minister for Electronics and Information Technology Ravi Shankar Prasad says strict action will be taken against social media platforms if they violate the laws of the land. India becomes the fastest country in the world to achieve 70 lakh COVID-19 vaccinations. Election Commission of India reviews poll preparedness in Tamil Nadu, assures free and fair polling. And US freezes funds for Myanmar government in the wake of the military coup. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today informed that India and China have agreed for disengagement in the north and south bank of Pangong Lake in eastern Ladakh. Giving a statement in the Rajya Sabha, the Defence Minister assured that the nation's approach and strategy for negotiations with the Chinese side has been guided at the highest level by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's resolve that India will not give even an inch of its territory. The minister said the tenacity and approach of the country during talks have yielded results.
बातचीत के लिए हमारी स्ट्रेटजी तथा अप्रोच माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के इस दिशा निर्देश पर आधारित है कि हम अपनी 1 इंच जमीन भी किसी और को नहीं लेने दें। हमारे दृढ़ संकल्प का ही यह फल है कि हम समझौते की स्थिति पर पहुंच गए हैं। इन दिशा निर्देशों के दृष्टिगत सितंबर 2020 से लगातार मिलिट्री एंड डिप्लोमेटिक लेवल पर दोनों पक्षों में कई बार बातचीत हुई है कि इस डिसएंगेजमेंट का म्यूचुअली एक्सेप्टेबल तरीका निकाला जाए।
Highlighting the details of the agreement, he informed that both sides will cease their forward deployments in a phased, coordinated and verified manner. He said the Chinese side will keep its troop presence in the North Bank area to east of Finger 8. Reciprocally, the Indian troops, he said, will be based at their permanent base at Dhansing Thapa Post near Finger 3. The Defence Minister said a similar action would be taken in the South Bank area by both sides.
मुझे सदन को यह बताते हुए खुशी हो रही है कि हमारे इस अप्रोच तथा सस्टेन्ड टॉक्स के फलस्वरूप चीन के साथ पैंगोंग लेक के नॉर्थ एवं साउथ बैंक पर डिसएंगेजमेंट का समझौता हो गया है और इस बात पर भी सहमत हो गई है पैंगोंग लेक से पूर्ण डिसएंगेजमेंट के 48 आवर्स के अंदर सीनियर कमांडर स्तर की बातचीत हो तथा बाकी बचे हुए मुद्दों पर भी हल निकाला जाए। पैंगोंग लेक एरिया में चीन के साथ डिसएंगेजमेंट का जो समझौता हुआ है उसके अनुसार दोनों पक्ष फॉरवर्ड डिप्लॉयमेंट को फेज्ड, कोऑर्डिनेटेड एंड वेरीफाइड मैनर में हटाएंगे।
He added that these are mutual and reciprocal steps and any structures that had been built by both sides since April 2020 in North and South Bank area will be removed and the landforms will be restored. The minister further informed that it has also been agreed to have a temporary moratorium on military activities by both sides in the North Bank, including patrolling to the traditional areas. He said patrolling will be resumed only when both sides reach an agreement in diplomatic and military talks that would be held subsequently. Mr. Singh said the implementation of the bilateral agreement has started since yesterday in the north and south bank of the Pangong Lake. He said the agreement aims at substantially restoring the situation to that existing prior to the commencement of the standoff last year. Mr. Singh informed that there are still some outstanding issues with regard to deployment and patrolling at some other points along the LAC in eastern Ladakh. He said these will be the focus of further discussions with the Chinese side. The minister said both sides also agreed to achieve complete disengagement at the earliest and abide fully by the bilateral agreements and protocols.
इस बातचीत में हमने कुछ भी खोया नहीं है। सदन को यह भी जानकारी देना चाहता हूं, अभी भी एलएसी पर डिप्लॉयमेंट तथा पेट्रोलिंग के बारे में कुछ आउटस्टैंडिंग इश्यूज बचे हुए हैं। इन पर हमारा ध्यान आगे की बातचीत में रहेगा। दोनों पक्ष इस बात पर सहमत हैं कि बाइलेटरल एग्रीमेंट्स तथा प्रोटोकॉल के तहत पूर्ण डिसएंगेजमेंट जल्द से जल्द कर लिया जाए। अब तक की बातचीत के बाद चीन भी देश की संप्रभुता की रक्षा के हमारे संकल्प से पूरी तरह और अच्छी तरह अवगत है। हमारी यह भी अपेक्षा है कि चीन द्वारा हमारे साथ मिलकर बचे हुए मुद्दों को हल करने का पूरी गंभीरता के साथ प्रयास किया जाएगा।
Mr. Singh urged the members of the upper house to join in paying gratitude to the armed forces who have shown grit and resolve under extremely harsh climatic conditions of Ladakh to arrive at the present agreement.
भारतीय सेनाएं अत्यंत बहादुरी से लद्दाख की ऊंची दुर्गम पहाड़ियों तथा कई मीटर बर्फ के बीच में भी सीमाओं की रक्षा करते हुए अडिग हैं और इसी कारण हमारा एज बना हुआ है। सभापति महोदय, हमारी सेनाओं ने इस बार भी यह साबित करके दिखाया है कि भारत की संप्रभुता एवं अखंडता की रक्षा करने में वे सदैव हर चुनौती से लड़ने के लिए तत्पर हैं और अनवरत कर रहे हैं।
He said the nation will always remember the sacrifices made by our brave soldiers, which has been the foundation of this disengagement at Pangong Tso Lake. The Defence Minister said over the last 1 year, India maintained a diplomatic and military engagement with the Chinese side, where military and diplomatic officials of both sides met several times to work out a mutually acceptable solution for disengagement. He said there have been 9 rounds of meetings of the senior commanders of both sides till date. The minister said in these discussions, India's approach was determined by 3 key principles.
3 सिद्धांतों के आधार पर हम इस समस्या का समाधान चाहते हैं। फर्स्ट, दोनों पक्षों द्वारा एलएसी को माना जाए और उसका आदर किया जाए। दूसरा, किसी भी पक्ष द्वारा यूनिलेटरली स्टेटस को बदलने का प्रयास न किया जाए। तीसरा, सभी समझौतों का दोनों पक्षों द्वारा पूर्ण रूप से पालन किया जाए। फ्रिक्शन क्षेत्रों में डिसएंगेजमेंट के लिए भारत का यह मत है कि 2020 की फॉरवर्ड डिप्लॉयमेंट जो एक दूसरे के बहुत नजदीक हैं, वे दूर हो जाएं और दोनों सेनाएं वापस अपनी अपनी स्थायी या मान्य चौकियों पर वापस लौटें।
Union Minister for Electronics and Information Technology Ravi Shankar Prasad today said strict action will be taken against social media platforms if they are found to be violating the law of the land, spreading fake news and fueling violence in the country. Specifically naming Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp and LinkedIn in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Prasad said there are millions of followers in the country and are free to do business and make money. Mr. Prasad, however, said that these platforms cannot be allowed to circumvent the provisions of the Indian Constitution. Replying to a question on the misuse of social media platforms, the minister said, freedom is important, but showing revenge and obscene materials is not acceptable. Specifically calling out the different standards of a major social media platform, Mr. Prasad said it allowed circulation of hate messages following the Red Fort violence on the 26th of last month. He said the same platform had displayed restrictive policy following the violent incident at Capitol Hill in the USA.
पुलिस को कार्रवाई करना पड़ता है तो कुछ ये माइक्रो ब्लॉगिंग कंपनियां उसके साथ खड़ी हो जाती हैं, और जब यहां पर लाल किले पर हमला होता है जो भारत की गरिमा का प्रतीक है तो उसके विरोध में खड़ी हो जाती हैं। ये डबल स्टैंडर्ड नहीं चलेगा, ये सारी कंपनियां जान लें। हम भारत के संविधान में फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है, लेकिन 19(2) में यह भी लिखा हुआ है इट इज सब्जेक्ट टू रीजनेबल रिस्ट्रिक्शन बिकॉज ऑफ सॉवरेनिटी इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ इंडिया। ये क्या मजाक है कि आप नरेंद्र मोदी मैसेकर ऑफ किसान हैशटैग करते हैं, इसका मतलब क्या है? तो सर, आप वैमनस्य न फैलाएं, आप हिंसा न फैलाएं, झूठी खबरें न फैलाएं और भारत के संविधान और भारत के कानून का पालन करें। इसमें हम बहुत ही सख्त रहें।
Union Electronics and Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad today said that the centre has taken several steps to ensure dissemination of trustworthy information about government policies and activities. In his reply to a question in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Prasad asserted that these steps are necessary to safeguard people from becoming targets of disinformation and misinformation campaigns. He said that the government regularly interacts with social media platforms on issues related to spread of fake news, misinformation and disinformation on the internet. The minister added that the government takes appropriate action as per law against non-compliance by social media platforms. Enumerating a host of efforts undertaken by the centre to curb misinformation in the country, Mr. Prasad said that a portal, india.gov.in, has been set up to disseminate trustworthy information about government policies and activities. He said the government actively participated in a committee specially constituted by the Election Commission of India to address the issue of misuse of digital and social media in the election process. Mr. Prasad also informed about the dedicated cell set up by the Information and Broadcasting Ministry under the Press Information Bureau to counter fake news, especially on government policies, schemes and programs.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today informed that India has registered a strong protest with the Sri Lankan government regarding the death of 4 Indian fishermen which took place on the 18th of last month. In his reply to a question in the Rajya Sabha, Dr. Jaishankar said a strong protest in this regard was conveyed to the Sri Lankan Foreign Minister by the Indian High Commissioner. He informed that a strong démarche was also made to the Sri Lankan Acting High Commissioner in New Delhi. The External Affairs Minister asserted that New Delhi has expressed its deep anguish at the loss of lives and has emphasized the need to deal with issues pertaining to fishermen in a humane manner. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the Self-Reliant India campaign is becoming the medium for building the future of the poor, farmers, labourers and middle class. Addressing BJP MPs on the death anniversary of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay, the Prime Minister said the transformational changes taking place in the field of infrastructure will make lives of citizens easier. The Prime Minister added, when India's stature is rising rapidly globally, every Indian will be proud of it. He said the policy for the nation is paramount in our politics.
जब हमारा देश समर्थ होगा तभी तो हम दुनिया की सेवा कर पाएंगे, एकात्म मानव दर्शन को सार्थक कर पाएंगे। दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी भी यही कहते थे। उन्होंने एक स्थान पे लिखा था, एक सबल राष्ट्र ही विश्व को योगदान दे सकता है। यही संकल्प आज आत्मनिर्भर भारत की मूल अवधारणा है। इसी आदर्श को लेकर ही देश आत्मनिर्भरता के रास्ते पर आगे बढ़ रहा है। कोरोना काल में देश ने अंत्योदय की भावना को सामने रखा और अंतिम पायदान पर खड़े हर गरीब की चिंता की। आत्मनिर्भरता की शक्ति से देश ने एकात्म मानव दर्शन को भी सिद्ध किया, पूरी दुनिया को दवाएं पहुंचाई और आज दुनिया को वैक्सीन भी पहुंचा रहा है।
He said Deen Dayal Upadhyay's ideals are still relevant and he is an inspiration for all. The Prime Minister said BJP ideology speaks of nation first.
हम जैसे जैसे दीनदयाल जी के बारे में सोचते हैं, बोलते हैं, सुनते हैं, उनके विचारों को पढ़ने का प्रयास करते हैं, हमें उनकी बातों में, उनके विचारों में हर बार एक नई ताजगी, एक नया दृष्टिकोण, एक नवीनता का अनुभव होता है। उनके विचार आज भी उतने ही प्रासंगिक है जितने तब थे और आने वाले समय में भी उतने ही आवश्यक रहेंगे जितने आज है।
He called upon every party unit to do 75 works each that serve the society as a tribute to 75 years of Indian independence. He asked party MPs to use Namo app for interface with the common man. He said, in the last few years, the government has been able to bring changes in the lives of people at a massive scale by the usage of technology. India has created new records with regard to digital transactions. He said due to adoption of new technology, the poor and needy are getting their rightful money directly into their bank accounts. Every month, India is doing transactions worth over 4 lakh crore rupees digitally. Speaking on the occasion, BJP President J.P. Nadda said that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas is inspired by the vision of Antyodaya given by Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today said that Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay was a true humanist who believed in Antyodaya and worked tirelessly to uplift the poorest of the poor. Remembering Deen Dayal Upadhyay on his death anniversary today, the Vice President said his philosophy of integral humanism is a guiding light for the nation and his incredible life continues to inspire many. Home Minister Amit Shah today paid tributes to Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay on his death anniversary. In a tweet, the Home Minister said, the life of Deen Dayal Upadhyay is a great symbol of service and devotion to the nation. He said his devotion to the upliftment of the motherland has always inspired and guided the country. In Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath paid homage to the founder of Bharatiya Jan Sangh, Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay, on his death anniversary today. Speaking at a special function to mark the occasion in Lucknow today, Mr. Yogi said that revered Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji was a man of excellent values in politics, skilled organizer who drafted the concepts of Ekatma Manavvad and Antyodaya. Several programs are being organized across the state on this occasion.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh tells Parliament India and China agree for disengagement in north and south banks of Pangong Lake in eastern Ladakh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan has become a medium for shaping the future of disadvantaged people. Minister for Electronics and Information Technology Ravi Shankar Prasad says strict action will be taken against social media platforms if they violate the laws of the land. India becomes the fastest country in the world to achieve 70 lakh COVID-19 vaccinations. Election Commission of India reviews poll preparedness in Tamil Nadu, assures free and fair polling, and US freezes funds for Myanmar government in the wake of military coup. चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora has said that the Commission is bound to conduct free, fair, COVID and inducement-free elections in the country. Speaking to the media after reviewing poll preparedness for 2 days in Chennai, he said all the requests and appeals by the political parties were duly considered and a detailed review was held. He told that certain parties wanted the counting to be done in a day or two after the elections. He said that since the elections are to be conducted in more states, counting is to be done in a uniform manner. He said more central armed police forces would be deployed and also special observers from other states would be nominated for monitoring the expenses during the election. He said the Election Commission has taken note of social distancing regulations and decided to extend 1 hour of polling time. The CEC told that the Commission is expecting higher voter turnout in the Assembly election. He said their dates will be decided and announced after reviewing of poll preparedness in other states. He said as per the COVID norms, an additional 25,000 more booths have been added, bringing to a total of 93,000 booths in the state. He said the Election Commission is quite unhappy with the State Excise Department. To a question, Mr. Arora replied that festivals and examinations will be considered while announcing the dates for the polls. A high-level delegation from the Election Commission of India, ECI, will visit Puducherry today to review the preparedness for the Assembly elections to be held in a couple of months. The 8-member team, headed by the Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora, comprises Election Commissioners Sushil Chandra and Rajiv Kumar, Secretary General Umesh Sinha, Deputy Election Commissioner Chandrabhushan Kumar, and 3 more senior officials. The Election Commission has decided that biennial election to the Andhra Pradesh State Legislative Council from teachers' constituencies and Telangana State Legislative Council from graduates' constituencies will be held on the 14th of March this year. The term of office of 2 members each of the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana Legislative Council is expiring on the 29th of March due to the retirement of the sitting members. The Model Code of Conduct concerning these elections will come into force with immediate effect in the concerned constituencies. Union Home Minister and senior BJP leader Amit Shah has said that the people of West Bengal have decided in favour of a change of government in the state. Addressing a public rally at Raslila Maidan of Kuch Bihar city in North Bengal today, he said, if BJP comes to power in the state, they will make Bengal free from infiltrators.
किसी मुख्यमंत्री को बदलने की परिवर्तन यात्रा नहीं है, कोई एमएलए को हराकर दूसरे एमएलए को लाने की परिवर्तन यात्रा नहीं है। ये परिवर्तन यात्रा कोई मंत्री को हटाकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी के मंत्री बनाने की परिवर्तन यात्रा नहीं है। ये परिवर्तन यात्रा है बंगाल की स्थिति में परिवर्तन करने की यात्रा है। घुसपैठ से आप लोग परेशान हो या नहीं हो भाई बताओ जरा। आप मानते हो कि ममता दीदी घुसपैठ रोक सकती है? रोक सकती है? ये घुसपैठ रोकने के लिए परिवर्तन यात्रा है। आप एक बार परिवर्तन करिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनाइए। मैं आपको कहता हूं, आदमी तो क्या परिंदा भी घुस नहीं पाएगा। इस प्रकार का बंगाल हम बनाएंगे।
Mr. Shah also accused the Trinamool Congress leader and Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee of depriving the poor people of the state. He alleged that Ms. Banerjee had not implemented central welfare schemes like PM Kisan Nidhi and Ayushman Bharat and promised to implement the same within a week if BJP comes into power. Mr. Shah will be addressing a public rally at Thakurnagar in Bongaigaon later this afternoon. The three-day session of the Assam Assembly has begun today at Dispur and Guwahati on a storming note. Opposition Congress and All India United Democratic Front members created noisy scenes and displayed placards during the governor's speech, alleging failure of the state government in curbing corruption. Governor Professor Jagdish Mukhi in his speech said that the state government has taken exemplary measures for fulfilling the promise of a corruption-free Assam. He said that the state government has planted over 8 crore saplings covering an area of over 12,000 hectares. Professor Mukhi mentioned that the state government has also succeeded in containing the economic fallout of COVID-19.
India has become the fastest country in the world to achieve over 70 lakh vaccinations against COVID-19 in only 26 days. It took 27 days for the US and 48 days for the UK. The Union Health Ministry said a total of over 70,17,000 people have been administered COVID-19 vaccines in the country so far. More than 4,05,000 people were inoculated with COVID vaccine doses in the last 24 hours. The number of beneficiaries being vaccinated every day has shown a progressive increase. The ministry said 13 states and union territories have vaccinated over 65% of the registered healthcare workers. Bihar leads with over 79% of the registered healthcare workers being vaccinated. 7 states and UTs have reported less than 40% vaccinations of the registered healthcare workers. Puducherry has recorded the lowest vaccination performance of 17.5%. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 97.26%, with a total recovery of more than 11,000 patients in the last 24 hours. The ministry said more than 1 crore 5 lakh patients have already recovered from the disease. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 1,42,562, which comprises only 1.31% of the total positive cases. A total number of 12,923 new cases were reported in the country in the past 24 hours, taking the cumulative positive cases to over 1 crore 8 lakh. The Health Ministry said 108 deaths were reported during the last 24 hours, taking the toll to over 1,55,000 across the country. The ministry said 17 states and UTs have not reported any deaths in the last 24 hours.
In Chhattisgarh, vaccination of health workers as well as frontline workers, including those from police, revenue, panchayat and municipal employees against COVID-19 is going on. In order to increase the speed of COVID vaccination, the number of centers in the state has been increased to 672.
In Chhattisgarh, almost 1,97,000 health and frontline workers have been administered COVID-19 vaccines so far. More than 7,800 healthcare workers and about 10,300 frontline workers have been inoculated with COVID-19 doses in the last 24 hours. There is no report of any adverse effect after vaccination from anywhere in the state. In the first phase, 267,000 health and frontline workers are to be vaccinated against COVID-19 in the state. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 cases in Chhattisgarh are constantly declining. Total 222 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported during the last 24 hours. 6 districts recorded no new cases of infection. The total number of COVID-19 cases detected so far in Chhattisgarh has reached up to 3,08,218. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
Madhya Pradesh is reporting constant decline in active COVID cases. Meanwhile, vaccination of frontline workers has been conducted smoothly. More from a correspondent.
In Madhya Pradesh, over 4,28,000 healthcare and frontline workers were vaccinated so far across the state. Highest vaccination yesterday reported at Dewas district with 71% vaccination. On Wednesday, police personnel including IPS officers got the vaccination. The state immunization officer Dr. Santosh Shukla said that the frontline workers from the police department and the district administration were coming for the vaccination. Earlier, fewer beneficiaries had come forward, but from Wednesday, the vaccination percentage had increased and improved all over the state. Meanwhile, the state reported 141 COVID positive case yesterday, while 175 patients recovered from infection. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Uttarakhand, rescue and search operations are being conducted on 2 fronts, vertical as well as horizontal, in the tunnel at the point where 25 to 35 people are feared to be trapped from Sunday morning when the avalanche hit the power project. The commanders of the Navy are also conducting search operation along the Alaknanda River. In all, 34 bodies have been recovered so far and around 170 people are still missing. More from our correspondent.
Vertical drilling operations at the Tapovan tunnel started by rescue teams at 2 a.m. this morning to peep into the slush flushing tunnel from 12 to 13 meters below. This is being done from the tunnel where rescue teams are presently taking out slush. DIG of ITBP Aparna Kumar said that the technical team is also doing survey to find the people. She said that there is a possibility that some more people could be stuck inside the tunnel. Help of drone cameras is also being taken to know the whereabouts of the trapped people. DGP of State Ashok Kumar said that drilling work suspended temporarily as the machine broke down. He said that DNA samples of the 34 recovered bodies are being preserved and 10 of them have been identified so far. Meanwhile, a team of Navy commandos is conducting search operation for the missing persons and dead bodies in the Alaknanda River in 150-kilometer stretch from Tapovan to Srinagar. With Ragvesh Pandey from Dehradun, this is Sushil Chandra Tiwari for AIR News, Rani Village, Tapovan, Chamoli.
In Uttar Pradesh, Magh Mela is being observed on the occasion of Mauni Amavasya in Prayagraj today. Large number of devotees are taking a holy dip at the confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and mythical Saraswati Sangam, along with confluences of many other rivers and ponds at several places in the state. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has greeted people on the occasion.
The United States has announced that it is going to freeze USD 1 billion in Myanmar government funds held in the United States. President Joe Biden said that the U.S. is announcing a series of actions to impose consequences on the leaders of the Myanmar coup. He announced that he has already signed a new executive order to sanction against the military leaders who directed the coup and the close family members. President Biden said that the first round of targets will be identified this week. He said that strong export controls will be imposed, but the support for healthcare, civil society groups and other areas benefiting people will be continued. He called upon the military to immediately release the political leaders and activists, relinquish power and respect the will of the people. The military government in Myanmar has stepped up actions against leaders of the Aung San Suu Kyi-led National League for Democracy (NLD). A close aide to the ousted state councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, Kwai Tin Sui, was arrested by the army yesterday. He had served as a minister for the office of the state councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, reports Reuters. An official of the NLD has said that 4 other people linked to the previous government were also picked up from their homes last night. Protests continued for the 6th consecutive day today as workers came out on the streets of Naypyidaw in support of the civil disobedience movement against the Myanmar military government. At some places, bank employees and ethnic groups are also reported to have come out protesting against the military government.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for today. In the national capital Delhi, the sky will be partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Minimum temperature was 10 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 29 degrees. Mumbai will have a partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature was 18 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 33. Chennai has mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 31. Kolkata too has mainly clear sky. Temperature will move between 15 and 29 degrees. Srinagar has mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 0 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 15. In Jammu, minimum temperature was 11 degrees while maximum will be around 23. The city will have a mainly clear sky. There is partly cloudy sky in Leh. Minimum temperature was -9 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 5 degrees. Gilgit will also have a partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature was -2 degrees. Maximum will be around 17 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have a mainly clear sky. Temperature will move between 7 and 25 degrees Celsius. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh tells Parliament India and China agree for disengagement in north and south banks of Pangong Lake in eastern Ladakh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan has become a medium for shaping the future of disadvantaged people. Minister for Electronics and Information Technology Ravi Shankar Prasad says strict action will be taken against social media platforms if they violate the laws of the land. India becomes the fastest country in the world to achieve 70 lakh COVID-19 vaccinations. Election Commission of India reviews poll preparedness in Tamil Nadu, assures free and fair polling. And US freezes funds for Myanmar government in the wake of the military coup. And with that, we end the midday news.